Well, color me blonde and call me a Nazi. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. This game is by far my favorite game all year, and I gotta say the competition was tough. Okay, most of the games I played this year weren't even from 2017, but that doesn't matter. Who cares? What's the difference? Shut up. From Titanfall 2 to Nier Automata and recently the new South Park game, and me getting a Switch with Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, all games I absolutely adore, this game managed to do something no game has done in years. It evoked actual, real emotions. And I'm not talking about the sentimental type, but more on that later. The story. I won't spoil anything in the story, all I'm going into is the intro of the game, although throughout the video I'll be using footage from later levels, so that's not much of a spoiler, but depending on you, you've been warned. As always, you're playing as BJ Blazkowicz, the Nazi-killing, woman-pleasing, whiskey-downing single-man army. With Dr. Death said death, only one of the villains from the previous game remains, and it's none other than the beautiful, charming, and delightful Frau Engel.
Is this how a hero looks like?
The game picks up right where the last game ended. You lie on the ground, severely wounded from the explosion that ended the last game, but barely holding on to life, while your friends chip away at your intestines trying to fix you. Then, you wake up on board of the German U-boat you captured in the previous game, only to realize you're under attack. But you can't fucking walk, so you're rolling around in a wheelchair, shooting away at the invading Nazis trying to get to your friends. You see, the wonderful Frau Engel uses her flying battleship called the Ausmerzer, the Ausmerzer, to attack the U-boat and force out BJ, giving him the chance to turn himself in so his friends may live.
I'm addressing the terrorist and murderer, William Joseph Blazkowicz, also known as Terrorbill. I'm willing to spare the life of everyone in your vessel if you surrender. The doors are open. Come alone.
And so he does, since he's too wounded to keep fighting.
You going to run us over with your little wheelchair?
But of course, our darling Frau Engel doesn't quite honor the deal, and all hell breaks loose. You escape from the Ausmerzer, and from then on it's your goal to start a revolt in the Nazi-conquered America by recruiting resistance leaders and killing every goddamn Nazi you come across. All this may sound simple, and quite frankly it is, but the beautifully executed cutscenes and clever dialogue take this story from an almost cliched resistance story to a fully fleshed out character drama surrounding BJ and his friends. The animation, cinematography and sound design paired with just the right amount of silliness and humor are just the icing on the cake of this masterpiece.
Last time I saw her, she was with Caroline defending the cell platform elevator.
Then point me in that direction, Sepp.
Ingrid, you know how long you've been in bed? 5 months. Your body is broken. You understand? Your kidneys are failing. You might have difficulties to urinate, to use your schmeckhole, to do many other things.
No time for this, just tell me.
And I do gotta say, I haven't been that attached to such a diverse cast of characters in a while. Every member of your group has a well-defined and fleshed-out personality with their own beliefs and goals. A+ from me to the writing staff. But even though the story and its characters of the game are some of the best I've seen in years, it is hardly the reason me, and I guess anyone else, fell in love with the Wolfenstein games. The gameplay. To be fair, if you played the previous game, you know what's coming at you with this one. It's an ode to the 90s FPS, although it comes with a few little twists. But halfway through the game you get to choose between 3 abilities, though it doesn't really matter that much what you choose since you get all of them eventually. The Constrictor harness that lets you squeeze under low obstacles and through ventilation pipes, the ramshackles that let you run over enemies to the point of making them explode into a red cloud of blood and gibs, and the Battle Walkers, which are basically just stilts that let you reach higher places and get a little tactical advantage during battle. I gotta say I was skeptical at first, but they give the combat some nice variation that was kinda missing in the previous game, and now I kinda like them a lot. The levels are also designed with a lot of freedom in mind. Thanks to the new movement options, some secrets, or just a way to flank the enemy, are often in plain sight, yet once discovered feel almost genius. It's simple yet effective. Then there's the side content, from tons of collectibles to well-hidden weapon upgrades. Every level has more to offer than just cannon fodder. Another nice addition are the Uberkommandos, high-ranking officers in the Nazi army that are hiding all over the globe. To find them, you have to collect enigma codes from the officers within the story levels, that you then have to decipher to reveal the location of the Uberkommando. That sends you to a previously visited level to find and kill that Nazi scum.
You never cease to impress, Blazkowicz. Pack it up and come on home. Grace out.
Now, visiting previous levels for optional missions sounds kinda boring, and I made the mistake of ignoring it for most of my playthrough, but believe me, they do add a lot. Not only do you get to access previously inaccessible areas thanks to your new movement options from the upgrades, but the levels changed based on what happened there in the story. I won't say too much since it would spoil quite a big deal, but let me just say, you've been there before, and the level looks like it. They do resemble Terrorbilly Was Here, and it adds so much.
The atmosphere.
And the Germany paradox. The atmosphere in this game is just phenomenal. The world building is what drew my attention to the series in the first place. The Germanized songs, the posters of propaganda, the way every soldier fears Terrorbilly. Just everything about this game is a treat, especially if you're German. So what do I mean with the German paradox? Let me explain. If there's something I love as a German man, it's how the media portrays us. I'm amused by characters like the medic from TF2 or Sam from Far Cry 3. American voice actors with an over-the-top German accent using at least one German word in every sentence. It cracks me up. And especially because of this weird portrayal, it's such a nice surprise when a game like Wolfenstein comes around and not only uses top-notch German voice actors who use a real German accent, not that fake one that everyone uses all the time, but, you know, they also go out of their way to record many voice lines for German soldiers that are just a treat to listen to while sneaking up from behind. It makes every enemy feel like a person, almost too real to brutally murder with a fire axe. Almost.
Hast du ein Geheimnis bewahrt?
Natürlich.
Ich habe reingeschaut.
Nein. Was hast du gesehen?
Zuerst dachte ich, es wäre ein Toter, aber dann habe ich genauer hingesehen. Ist nicht menschlich, aber fast. Muss was Biotechnisches sein, absolute Spitzenentwicklung. Sah aus wie eine neue Art Supersoldatenkörper. Ziemlich beeindruckend.
But of course, the game is not completely free of stereotyping, but to be honest, I wouldn't want it any other way. I can't get enough of advertisements for sauerkraut or seeing vending machines selling beer. Why is it a paradox? Well, I honestly believe that Germans do get the most out of this game. Not only because we don't need subtitles, but as already said, it's just fun to look in from the outside, chuckling at things like posters for sausages or coffee. Yet, despite the game feeling like an entire development team going out of their way to make this as respectful and entertaining to the German player as possible, it was heavily heavily censored in Germany to the point where I felt like all charm was lost, especially because it forces you to use the German dubbed version only because of the use of the word Nazi. That, however, in my opinion, is a complete deal breaker. I don't want to listen to a German BJ talking to a German Fergus while fighting the Germans. It takes away a huge part of the entire experience. Thanks to my buddy GameCam who let me download the game through his account, I could get around those pesky limitations and enjoyed perhaps the best game I played in years. It has everything I like in a game. Alternate history, post-apocalyptic settings, retrofuturism, and the motherfucking 60s.
Mentioning all this, it's no wonder that my favorite franchises fall out. The summary.
If you enjoyed the previous game, then I can guarantee that you will enjoy this one even more. And if you haven't played the previous game in new order, I highly encourage anyone watching to play both. I haven't enjoyed a single player FPS campaign this much in years. I played Doom, I played Titanfall 2 and I loved them, but Wolfenstein just has it all. Gameplay that always feels fair and fun but never overpowering, an art direction that is unrivaled and world building that blew my fucking socks off. And a story filled with amazingly written characters that made my heart race at the finale of the game. And I'm not even kidding, this is the first game in years that actually got me physically excited as I was about to reach the end. Not because of that moment in particular, but because the entire game is one huge build-up, with an arguably anticlimactic, but in my opinion satisfying and really grin-inducing ending that gave me enough closure to satisfy me until the next game comes around, and oh boy, you know I can't wait to get my hands on that. And now, if you'd excuse me, there's Nazis to kill.